Charlie, can we have you just clap your hands in front of your face?
Next up on
Carrot
Dreamcatchers.
rolling just because any cute moments at the beginning, just for future. I always like that.
I like that bird.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, the birds are great.
Oh, it's so much better at being outside.
It's like a robot.
This is
I know,
beautiful.
isn't it?
Am I still too fat? Are my boobs not big enough? Is my nose wrong? Is the fact that my nose is crooked something bad? It's harder for me to be vulnerable with people that I know. I think that when I feel the most rejected is when I'm dealing with real life and my own feelings and things that really bring up my own insecurities.
Welcome back, Dreamcatchers. We're here.
We are here, and as you guys know, we love to bring you different areas of LA that we love. We brought you Griffith Park last year. This is a different part of Griffith Park called the Bronson Canyon Caves, and we are here today joined with our special guest, Ana Lorena Sanchez.
Ana Lorena Sanchez.
Hey everybody, how are you? She is an
From Mexico
actress
City.
from Mexico City. We're gonna talk all about her life, her blog, Rejection. It's all coming right now, so let's get into it.
Yes, okay, so Anna, tell everyone a little bit just about your story, like whatever you want to share.
I was born in Mexico City, raised in Texas. I never actually lived in Mexico City. Growing up in Texas was actually very interesting. I lived in a border town called McAllen. And when my parents decided to move there, they went from the biggest city in the world to the middle of nowhere, Texas. Growing up between two languages, two cultures, the American, the Mexican. My parents are very Mexican in a lot of ways. In school, I was always the Mexican with the Americans and the American with the Mexicans.
Okay, always with the odd one out.
Yeah.
Also,
Long story short, by the time I was 18, I had already worked at a local news station doing entertainment and weather news, but it was never what I actually wanted. So at one point, I kind of just talked to my parents and said, look, I want to just discover new endeavors, and I found a Meisner class that I want to take in Miami. Miami sounded familiar to my parents, so they, I guess, they were a little bit more comfortable about me moving out there by myself.
Yeah.
My parents said, okay, you have a year. I had to prove to my parents at that time and to what I felt was a lot of people that this wasn't just a phase in my life. So Telemundo was having this competition because they needed a young cast for a show, and I ended up booking the lead for the young cast. And after that, I really felt that my career in that sense hit an awesome trampoline because it just grew and grew and grew in that market, in the U.S. Hispanic market. Something that has been or was a bit hard in this process was accepting my body structure the way it is. Just because from that first project, I was constantly being pushed by executives and casting directors to get surgeries.
Oh, really?
What? Oh, yeah.
Like what?
Oh, yeah. So they wanted me to get a boob job and a nose job.
what's wrong with your nose?
You know,
Nothing.
Boobs, but
You know what?
You're like,
I don't know. So, yeah, and, I constantly got this answer, oh, that's the industry that you're in. Oh, that's what you're asking for.
I hate
That's
that.
what you want to
right,
be. And
yeah.
now that I'm in Los Angeles, I worry about, I don't worry about, but I concentrate on so many other things as opposed to just what my physique looks like.
Yes.
Because
there's so many other things that are more important. Or,
exactly. Working on your craft, being talented, being a good person. I've always been inspired by people that are constantly looking to grow. So I think that if you're constantly in that search within yourself, you will attract people that can help you redirect your life.
Definitely. Because you're open to learning and willing to grow,
Right.
you automatically attract other people that are willing to grow, and therefore people on similar pages.
Really takes an amazing amount of courage.
speaking of courage, you started a blog.
Oh my God, yes.
Let's talk a bit about that before we get into rejection, because we do have to get to that theme.
Yes.
I want to tell us a bit about how, first of all, you got the courage to start the blog, and tell our viewers a bit about how you play on your dynamic a little bit, your personality with the blog.
Oh my goodness. So All of a sudden, when I did that first show, that my following started growing on Twitter, which was pretty popular back then, I started tweeting these things that were very direct, indirect messages. You know, I'd be in the middle of a conversation and I'd get my phone and I'd tweet something that I'm not going to say I didn't have the courage to say, but it would have probably broken the moment completely. So I would just tweet it, and people were kind of started getting attracted to those comments. A couple of fans in Spain started writing to me and started saying, put up a blog, you know, put up a blog.
We want to hear from you more,
Right.
more of
Right,
that.
exactly. Just really develop on the thought, or where is this coming from?
Oh, that's cool.
And so one day I finally decided to do that, but I also needed a disclaimer that would help me detach a little bit from what I was writing,
Right.
so that I could actually be in the moment, write, and
Oh,
then
so this
say,
is how you did your alter
yes. So it's not really a pseudonym, but it's an alter ego that helps me really,
Let it all out.
and get over a writer's block when I do have them. I would get public messages, and I would also get private messages saying, thank you, because I know that I'm not by myself. And I think that the biggest part of sharing
It's our
these
motto.
yeah, the biggest part of sharing these kinds of things is not to convince anybody of anything. It's just to let people know that
You're
they're
not
probably not alone.
I've read you could tell them what's your signature for your gypsy alter ego, so your fans know the difference.
So, yeah, the signature is, well, my name is Ana Lorena, and there's a thing about, you know, the mysticism in between the gypsies and the moon cycles and moon children, and moon in Spanish is luna. I kind of put two and two together, and I said, well, it works if I sign it Ana Lunera.
I get that.
It
I
helps
completely
with
get that.
being vulnerable and
I like
allowing
that.
myself to sit in those feelings and say, this is actually what I'm feeling. And even if it sounds corny, or if I start putting in all of those adjectives or judgmental adjectives, then I won't write. I'll just say it's stupid. It sounds stupid.
Do you feel like if people didn't like it or they were judging you, it's okay because it's come from that place, like talking about rejection? Does it help you feel, I mean, have you ever had anyone, for one, not liking it, or have you had abuse from it?
Of course.
Or,
Oh, of
Like-
course. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but I think it's different to be vulnerable to a public, from my experience. I think I don't mind being vulnerable to a public because I know that I'm not gonna please everybody.
Right.
It's harder for me to be vulnerable with people that I know.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Does it make
Because
sense?
the judgment is
Yeah.
so
Close.
It's so close to you. Whereas if it's a big masses, it's like, well, someone's bound to like it in here, and someone's bound to not.
I think that when I feel the most rejected is when I'm dealing with real life and my own feelings and things that really bring up my own insecurities.
Give us an example of
give it-
that.
yeah.
I think
Yourself.
I think the things that I most fall into and that I try to work on the most is, first of all, rejecting myself. Not because I don't feel beautiful. Sometimes I wake up and I don't feel beautiful. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes I wake
Me
up
too.
and my face is puffy and I feel fat and I feel under the weather, and it's probably my hormones. So then I kind of hate my hormones, but I can't hate my hormones.
Yeah,
and
because they're part
I
of you,
love
they give you
being
life
a
and they give you
woman.
children.
So, you know, if I can't change these things, so I might as well feed
Embrace
the positive.
them.
I'm in a constant path of, or journey of falling in love with myself and accepting myself the way I am, because then I think rejection will change into something as redirecting. Sometimes I go into auditions and it's inevitable if I'm not in a good headspace, or if, you know, some thoughts will just creep up on you, which is normal, you know,
Right.
and I think it can happen at any kind of job interview or any first date. Just certain questions, for me at least, for example, in my career, am I still too fat? Are my boobs not big enough? Is my nose wrong? Is the fact that my nose is crooked something bad?
How do you now turn that around? What is your process to changing that?
So I honestly think that the process starts way before I get rejected. I learned this at a workshop or a foundation course that I took here in Los Angeles at Howard Fine. I don't need to use my
Shout
acting
out.
to prove I'm an actress.
Right.
Yeah.
Once you start peeling those issues away, I think that it's you're a little bit better prepared to say, okay, you know, that wasn't the role for me, so I just need to keep preparing, keep growing, and trying to pinpoint the things that I can change and the things that I can't, and just accept them for what they are.
Right.
So for our viewers out there, what are 3 tips that you can give them to help prepare for a big moment?
Off the top of my mind, there's 3 things. Breathing as much as you can and as deep as you can. Yes.
So good, the breath.
It does feel good.
And drinking water. I think it's very basic. Another one that I learned, which was repeating to myself, even out loud, you know, I am worthy of this. I am prepared.
I'm enough.
I am enough.
That's the biggest thing.
I am worthy.
I'm enough.
And the third one would be look for things that will really connect you to yourself and that will connect you to how you feel. I constantly either go hiking, you know, that way I feel I'm connected to nature, or I hop on the car and go to the beach and just sit there and be with myself.
Or go for a drive and talk to
Go
yourself
for a
in the car.
drive.
I love doing that.
We're a big advocate, and I'm sure you are too, about self-care, like you were talking about.
Okay, yes.
I like to be alone. I like solitude sometimes. I like to go to the gym and sweat. Those are my self-care. I know Charlie likes to take her baths. And you like to read
cry.
and listen to your Abraham Hicks videos.
I like to have my incense. I like to have my essential oils.
That's
I like to
right.
meditate. I like to watch a bit of
Candles.
You and I are
escape-
so similar. It's not
Yeah.
even funny.
All right.
Okay.
So we're gonna do rapid fire.
Okay.
So this is this or that self-care edition to
Okay.
handle the outside world when you are feeling down or rejected or not yourself. First one: night in or night out dancing.
A night out dancing 1,000,000 times.
Manicure or massage.
Both.
Binge eat or
too.
binge watch.
Can I say both again?
I knew. Okay, say the same as me.
Reading or writing.
Writing.
Wine bar or juice bar.
You know what? Juice bar.
Ah,
nice.
yes. So I would
Yeah.
say both again. I'm terrible. I'm terrible at
Well,
decisions.
I try not to drink during the week because I don't know, then I can get a little messy.
That is it, you guys. This has been our episode with Ana Lorena Sanchez. If you guys have any questions or comments for her, feel free to comment below. We want to know your thoughts. We can always
where
check
can we
back
find
in with her.
you?
Of
Yes.
Where can we find you?
Where can we
Oh,
find
you can find me on all my social media with the handle @Ana Lorena SM.
And the name of your blog. Where can they find your blog again?
gitanerias.wordpress.com.
Amazing. Oh my God, thank you so much for
No,
coming on. It's
thank you
been
for having me.
amazing. You were one of those magical people. It's lovely having you on. I want to have
Thank
you
you
back.
so much.
Yes,
Definitely.
please. And utilize her
Anytime.
tips. And make sure to take care of
Yes.
yourself. Don't feel rejected. You are
Redirecting. You got that? You got that, dreamers?
And we
love
love you.
you.
We
Yes.
love you.